Hey, thanks for joining us. For those of you who could not attend the summit, we are bringing the summit to you with the Summit Restart training. Thanks so much to Heather for facilitating this, and we're just going to get started. I'm going to be picking up the recruiting piece and sharing that with you tonight. So I'm just going to get started. So basically, to break it down, recruiting is nothing more than sales. So if you could sell something, you could recruit. If you are not good at sales, the good news is you could still recruit. So I'm going to break it down and make it really simple for you. Basically, there's two things you need to make a sale. You need to connect with your buyer, and part of that is earning their trust. And the second piece is passion and excitement. So if you have those two things, you are sure to make the sale. Whether you're selling Jamberry wraps, whether you're selling Girl Scout cookies, maybe not Girl Scout cookies, I will buy them from anybody. I don't care if I trust them or not. But yeah, so whether you're selling Jamberry wraps or whether you're selling Jamberry as a brand to recruit, you're doing sales and you need to make the connection and build trust. And sometimes that will take time, and sometimes you will find people who just want to join like that, and sometimes it's not as much of a investment in time, but the investment is worth it. So you want the connection and trust, and you want the passion and excitement, and you cannot lose out on that part. If I came across somebody who is just like, yeah, Jamberry's really, it's great. Yeah, I like the jams, you know? I mean, I guess I could be painting my nails, but I'd rather just put jams on. Like, I wouldn't buy anything from them, and I would definitely not want to be on their team. But if you find someone who is all about it and they love the culture and they can't stop telling you about how awesome and exciting this opportunity, how life-changing it's been, you're going to want some of that. So connect and passion and excitement. And it's a proven fact that a lot of times when people first join, they have, and this isn't always true, and it doesn't mean you won't be successful later on, but a lot of times when people have that excitement when they first join, they have a lot of success at recruiting, because it's like in their blood during that time. And you know, there is a cycle of sales where you have your excitement, then you go through a challenge, then you kind of get down and depressed about it, and then you start practicing creative avoidance because you're in denial and you don't want to do anything, but you don't, you know, you still love Jamberry, but you're like, oh, she's doing so much better than me. I must be doing something wrong. Nope, wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. This is normal for everybody, this cycle. And then there's the recommitment phase. And that happens to everybody. Everybody in sales, even the elite executives, will tell you that they have been there. I have been there several times over now. You know, and it's just a cycle. And if you know that that cycle is normal in sales, then you won't get so moved or depressed or fazed by it. You will just know that that's how it goes, and it's going to come back around, and that, you know, things are just going to be good again. And so I say that to say that, you know, if you're in any of the other parts of that cycle, you're still going to have success. It's still going to come back around to you. That excitement's going to come back around. You're going to recommit. You're going to, you know, find that passion again. And when you have that passion and excitement is when you're going to be doing your best with recruiting. So try to remember your why you joined Jamberry, and that's going to help kind of reignite that excitement and that passion. And don't ever, ever, never, ever compare yourself to other people in their journey, because you just can't do that. You can't compare. It's not going to work. Not everybody's on the same journey. Not everybody has the same goals. Not everybody, some people join Jamberry as a hobby. Some people, you know, it's different for everybody. So it will only steal from you. Comparing will never add anything good to you. It will only add negative. So definitely don't do that. So just really try to focus on why did you join, keeping that excitement, and you will recruit and you will sell jams. So that's important. That's really key. And if you can get that fundamental down with your passion and excitement and you're connecting with customers, then that's like most of the battle right there. Another point is that you want to recruit wide. Some people have a misconception or a belief that they will get, you know, like 5 strong legs, and then they could sit back, kick back, relax, you know, sip their daiquiris and watch other people make money for them. And while there is a lot of truth in making really good money once you become team manager and beyond, I personally would never ever put my success and my future in anybody else's hands. Not ever. It's kind of like the theory of when you go to a wedding and you invite, I'm hosting a wedding, I invite people and I lose 30%. There will be people who won't follow through the Jamberry journey for whatever reason. Tough times come up in their life, their focus has changed, they have a baby, maybe they got discouraged and they didn't recommit, you know, for whatever reason. But I don't ever put all my eggs in any of those baskets. I take full responsibility for my success, and I'm always going to be actively recruiting. And if you really want to be successful at Jamberry, you're always going to be actively recruiting. It's not painful, I promise. It will become like second nature once you get these techniques down. So always actively recruit and recruit wide. There is going to be success in building down, but building wide will bring you more stability. Building wide will help, you know, give you more security, and it will just ensure your success. So really, really smart. Just always be actively recruiting. And a really realistic goal is 2 recruits a month. And if you're like, if you've been with Jamberry for like a year and you're like, oh, I've only had 2 an entire year. She said, did you hear her? She said 2 a month. She's crazy. Maybe I'm a little bit crazy, but no, it's totally possible. And it's just a matter of learning to work sales and really just connect and be personable with people. And don't worry, if you have only recruited 0 or 1 this year, it doesn't have to stay that way. So I'm just bringing the tools to you, and you will be able to do it, I promise. So another thing too is, in helping yourself to not get discouraged, it is completely normal to take 2 steps forward and like get ahead. You know, you're building a team, you're all excited, your team's doing really good, and then to take 1 step back. And maybe that looks like, well, this person dropped down to a hobbyist, or I have 3 people and they just don't seem to be working their business. You cannot get discouraged by that. This is normal. This too shall pass. This has happened to executives. They will tell you all about this. It is, again, the longer you do this, the more you're not phased, the more success you're going to be, because you're not going to be dragged down every time you hit a bump in the road like that. And you will have more energy to put to positive things. So it's completely normal. Like I said, not everybody's going to follow you. And you can't get discouraged. Don't put your time and energy into people who really just don't want to work their business. Move on. Keep on recruiting. Keep on, you know, connecting with others and building your business wide. And you won't ever be affected by that then. Okay, so it's a really important concept to get, and you will be successful if you get a hold of this. So some tools that could be used for recruiting, some simple things. One is roll call. Lots of people do roll calls in their parties, usually the first or second day. And basically it's just kind of like an introduction. You know, people are checking in. How do you know your hostess? What do you do for work? You know, without being interrogating. You know, have you heard about Jamberry before? Do you like Jamberry? Blah, 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 whatever. Anyways, I kind of use that to see, you know, who might my stay-at-home moms be? Who might be people who need money to pay off debts? Another question I've asked before is, if you won the lottery, what would you do with the money? And that's where I get the people who are like, oh, I have so much debt, I'd pay it off. So I kind of use that also as a segue. Here they have all these plans of why they need money. Well, guess what? I have not a winning lottery ticket, but I have Jamberry, and it's an opportunity. And I would love to share that opportunity with you. So using roll call as kind of a technique to recruit is really, really smart. And it's a way to not be aggressive, and it's a way to find out about people without you know, being too salesy, because that scares people, to be honest. Another tool is sneak peek. Now, what I don't want to happen is I don't want people being like, a sneak peek will do all the work. I'll just tell them about a sneak peek and then they'll just join because they came. No, you should never, ever, ever rely on sneak peek for recruiting. That is kind of a bonus, an add-on, But you should always be using your own tools to recruit. Sneak peek is just an added kind of little push for people who are, you know, really just kind of sitting on that fence. You want to use every segue. So at each party, there's at least 10 opportunities to use a segue to just lead into Jamberry. And what that may look like is, I usually get at least one girl every party who's obsessed, and she's like, oh my God, I want this one too, and she's just, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I say, oh God, girl, I know your pain. That's why I joined, because you know what? Honestly, it saved me money by joining, because now I get paid to have pretty nails, and I get to buy all the jams I want, and my husband's not gonna kill me. So comments like that, I will use every comment I can to talk about Jamberry and why I joined, and it will eventually pique people's interest. Somewhere down the line, someone's gonna be like, oh my God, really? And they're gonna respond to you. So be prepared for that. Don't be surprised. So look for at least 10 opportunities in every party to use as a segue to talk about Jamberry. They will be there, and the more you become conscious and aware to people's comments, the more that you are going to, you know, be able to lead into, hey, that's why I joined, you know? So, that's another little thing I do. Also, I really seek out people. Now, when you're recruiting, you are not waiting for people to come to you. That's not recruiting. No, nuh-uh. So recruiting is going after people, and you don't have to be like some crazy stalker lady to do that. You can totally be chill and relax and welcoming and non-salesy and be able to do it that way. But recruiting, yeah, like, you know, when they recruit for teams, did you ever see anybody get recruited, you know, for a scholarship and they just figured it out themselves? No, they were recruited. Someone went out and they found them and they asked them. So that's really important. If you have not recruited people, did you ask anybody? Did you ask anybody? Did you? That's really, really important. You need to ask. Honestly, for my recruits, I asked a lot of them. There were a couple people who came to me and they were just like, oh my God, I want to join. You know, that's not going to be your every day. I wish it was, but it's not. But I asked. I just asked. What harm is there in asking? There's no harm. You don't have anything to lose. Nothing, as long as you're not being crazy. So yes, so I seek out people in the parties. I seek out people who are very active with games, and active in the party. Those people who like every single post, and who comment a lot. I seek out people who buy a lot, and I seek out hostesses. Hostesses are usually your prime candidate for recruiting. And some other tools. Oh, also too, with your hostesses, when you're checking them out for your parties, always let them know about the opportunity to get a kit credit. Even if you don't think they're going to join, some people will surprise you. Also too, it's good to ask at every party, like, do you have interest in joining? And they will tell you yes or no. It's pretty simple. And really, it's that easy. Some other tools are recruiting interview. I'm going to touch upon that at the end because that is a little more in depth. And then the DISC personality testing. It's the DISC personality testing. And you might be like, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? It has everything to do with what we're talking about because it goes back to connecting with people. And it was a concept that was kind of foreign to me. And once I learned it, I was like, no wonder. Okay, I get it. So basically, first of all, I want to challenge you to Google that. If you haven't, we did a little bit of it on Squad. If you have not gone through and looked at that, I want you to. To give you a breakdown, D personalities are very dominant. They want it done yesterday. They do not want to be bothered with details. They go after what they want. I personalities are people who want to have fun. They don't like all the seriousness. They like to just party. They're your partiers. They're your recruits who they just want to know about the Disney conference. They just want to know about, you know, the free jams, and they want to know about all the fun stuff. They're not as concerned about the comp plan, which is important, you know, whereas the D personality, you know, they want to know what money can be made, you know, they're straight to the point, you know, how do they get to elite executive? What does that entail? They're your power people. They're The S personality, those are very family conscious people. They're people who are very strong, but they're a silent strong, and they take their time with things. Really how recruiting is going to affect them is they're going to be more like, how does this opportunity affect my family? For instance, I'm a stay-at-home mom. This will bring income in to help my husband out, to help pay for my child's tuition. They're going to be family focused and centered, and they're more slow to make decisions. And so why does this matter? Because say you're recruiting me and I'm an S personality and you're word vomiting all over me and I need time to make my decision and you're not backing off, guess what? You just totally lost me. So if you became more conscious about dealing with different types of personalities and how to work with those people, you're going to have a lot more success. It's all about the connection. It's all about earning trust and reaching people where they are at. They're not going to come to your level. You need to go to their level. That's all about recruiting. And then lastly, the C personality. C personalities are very analytical. They want all the facts. They want all the details. They are not to the point. They might take their time, but they really want the logistics. They want to see everything broken down. They want every single detail. So you could see how, without knowing, what personality you're dealing with and putting thought into that, how you could kind of almost blow it for yourself. So even if just you kind of brush up a little bit on that, and there are free surveys you could take. It's the DISC, D-I-S-C personality test. It's super helpful. So I really studied up on it, and I just feel so much more prepared and so much more in touch with connecting with others. One of the last tools I just want to touch upon is the survey. I started doing a survey in my parties, and I am obsessed. I did it through Woofoo. I don't even know. Woofoo? W-U-F-O-O. Some people use Google Docs as well. And the survey is great for a couple reasons. I offer a raffle prize, a separate raffle prize. No money has to be even spent on the party, so it's a guaranteed prize, and it's genius. I ask, did you like the party? What party were you from? What hostess? Hey, would you be interested in earning free things by, hosting a party? I forget my wording, but asking about hosting a party, asking if they want information about joining Jamberry opportunity, asking if they want to be updated on information like a mailing list. And then lastly, what didn't you like? I could take any honest opinions. What didn't you like about the party? So this is great. It helps me, number one, improve my parties. Number two, helps me book parties. Number three, helps me find out, people who are interested. The survey is great because it protects me from Facebook jail, number one. Typically, I would go out and I would message people. Every time people do not return your messages, that puts a flag on your account, and enough flags, and you do go to jail. I've been there 3 times. I know what to do now. So this kind of protects me. People let their defenses down when they're taking a survey because they know that they're just going to answer a couple questions and that they're not going to be harassed. They're answering, literally it takes less than 30 seconds of their time, and they feel safe saying no there. They don't feel like someone's going to argue with them over PM or try to convince them. So they are more apt to say, hey, no, instead of just ignoring your messages. So that's fabulous. And then another thing I do is during the party, I can get more people to answer if they want to host or if they want to join, because I'll just be like, hey, PM, I tag someone, or not PM, I tag them and I'm like, hey, Janet, make sure you enter the raffle. And she just thinks she's going to enter a raffle for a free prize, but I know that I'm going to get some answers from her. So it's really, really huge and awesome, and you so want to do a survey for your party. It's great. So moving on. We're going to touch upon the interview. I'm actually probably going to do a part 2 of this video, so that way you could take a break, whatever you want to do. Just remember that recruiting and sharing and asking about Jamberry, it is not a burden on other people. It is an opportunity. And once you change your mindset, it's going to make it a lot easier to talk to people. I am making a really good amount of money, and I have been totally blessed by Jamberry in so many aspects. Emotionally, I'm so fulfilled by just connecting with such wonderful people and knowing that I work for an awesome company with owners that, they're the most generous, loving, kind, big-hearted people. And that, it is just really helped me as a person to want to even be better. So it's really just been mind-blowing. Why wouldn't I want to share that with somebody else? It would be selfish of me to keep that all to myself. So I'm going to share. I'm not going to think of it as a burden. I'm not going to think I'm a bother. I would want someone to share this with me, and I'm glad that my sponsor did. So, you know, let's not keep it all for ourselves. Let's share, because it's a good thing. We talked about asking. Always ask. The worst they could say is no. It doesn't hurt anybody. A lot of people don't sign up because they don't really believe in themselves, or they have fears. So you can ask, hey, what's your fear? What's holding you back? And help address that fear. Always be planting seeds into people. Some people are not going to be recruited in 10 minutes, in 1 day, in 7 days, in a month. You might have to have several forms of contact, and you don't want to always be talking about Jamberry. One point of contact could be commenting on someone's picture about their son. You know what that does? It puts your face in their head, and they're like, oh, that's that Jamberry girl. You know what? I actually wanted to ask her a question. And so it creates more opportunity, more relationship, builds your trust, and earns their trust. So they really, again, you need to plant seeds. You need to let people know they would be excellent at this opportunity. They would be great, you know, and really build their confidence, because again, most people don't join because they don't believe in themselves and they have fear. So always be planting those seeds of encouragement into others. That's really, really important. And don't ever word vomit. Don't try to squeeze, you know, if someone's going to be a slow person to join, don't try to speed them up or squeeze it or overwhelm them with the information and think you're going to recruit them in one paragraph. I used to do that, and sometimes it worked, but it's not the most successful form. One thing I encourage people to do is to keep a journal. There was an elite executive that shared this, and I thought it was amazing. And it was all recruiting journal. And she would have one page for each person that she thought was a potential, and she would write down every single time she had a contact with them. So if you remember a while back, they had something called like 18 forms of contact, or that most sales were made after 18 points of contact. So basically, you know, people are like, whoa, 18 times? I can't even imagine. Yeah, what that means is, like, I said happy birthday to you. A week later, I followed up on your Jamberry order. I asked you if you needed any help. 2 weeks later, I comment on your son's picture. 3 weeks later, you know, I don't know, I ask you if you have any questions. It's just making a connection. And if it's meant to be, it will lead to other things. It's keeping your face in their mind so that they don't forget about you. You know, maybe later on it's asking, you know, if they want to host a party. It will only lead to positive things. And she would journal that. And as she would journal, she would also journal when they joined, and she would like highlight it. And then she'd look back and see all the points of contacts and how the people would end up joining, and it built her confidence. And it's a system that really works. And so she would write in the journal what she did at each point of contact, like said happy birthday or whatever. And I just thought that was really, really neat. And it was very helpful to her. So I thought that was really cool. Always keep, you know, in your mind what your motivation is, what your goals are per month for recruiting. Keep it in front of you. Keep your why. That's going to keep all your passion and excitement up, which is going to help you, again, bring in those recruits. And I know I've heard people say, you know, well, I just don't have anything positive to share. That can't be so. There's always something positive to share. If you don't have a positive story, use your sponsor's positive story. There's so many because of Jamberry stories that it would be a total craziness to say that there's nothing positive to say about Jamberry. So those, you know, are tools I want to leave you with. I'm going to do another video here for those who want to know more about the recruiting interview. It's something we learned in the leadership class, and I found it really, really helpful. And also in that video, I'm going to tell you how to be entered into the giveaway. So follow me over to part 2. I will catch you in a few.